up, YouTube? KB Cooper here, and I'm going to talk about PlayStation Neo, PlayStation 4K, console generations, and phone upgrades. Now, this is going to be a rant. I'm going to get in front of it right now. I'm going to tell you I'm going to ramble, I'm going to say a lot of things, and I'm going to get a lot of out. Because I think there's so many different ways to look at this, and as a gamer who is invested in not only a gaming PC, but has really been more reliant on consoles to get me to the point where I am now, I think there's a lot of things that we have to point out about what's good and what's bad about this. First, I think everybody needs to take responsibility, though. The hardware manufacturers, so Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they have to take responsibility for the fact that maybe some of their messaging, longevity on these consoles was not really transparent from the start. I personally am of the belief that they knew these consoles were going to come out before they even released the consoles that we have. The way these business plans are rolled out, they're rolled out years and years and years ahead of when we're actually getting product because of the time that goes in R&D, project management, marketing campaigns, all of that stuff takes years of planning. So they knew that this was a possibility. And we have to identify why that's a problem from the get-go. On the flip side, we also have to take responsibility as consumers. When we give all the media attention in games press to the games that don't hit 1080, 60 frames per second, the games that aren't the most beautiful things, the games that run differently on a PS4 versus an Xbox One, we are putting so much pressure on developers and hardware manufacturers to continue to push the limits. Now, am I saying that we're entitled? Not necessarily, but what I'm saying is when we make a really big deal out of gameplay things such as FPS, 1080 versus 720, and the nitty and gritty comparisons, we're creating a market that's volatile to anybody who doesn't meet that standard. And you're also taking away from the general approach to how people are using their creative process. If we're more worried about 1080-60 than we are about gameplay experiences, we have a really big problem with the industry in a whole and how we view the value of these projects, stories, and experiences that we do through video games. With all of that said, understanding it from the, where maybe people have taken this fault, or maybe where we've been misled, or what we've demanded has now caused X, Y, Z, we have to also look at different markets and industries. For instance, TVs, right? TVs, for a long time, there just wasn't a lot of innovation in a TV. It wasn't happening. Same thing with cellular devices. We didn't used to get 2 models of a phone in 1 year. It just didn't used to be that way. And we also have things with both of those where you go to buy a TV, that TV is expensive, there's a lot of financing options and different ways to get TVs in your household. But in the end, let's think about this real quick. You don't need a new TV, just like you don't need a new cell phone, just like you don't need a new console. If you want those things, then by all means, be a consumer and buy these things. But nobody in any of this is saying you need the newest iPhone, you need the newest TV, you need the newest gaming console. So you can't get mad at a company for giving you something new that you don't need, but then getting mad at them for making something new. It just, it's very flawed. I'll give it to you. Consumerism is really based off people purchasing and continuing to upgrade and move forward, but at the same time, their product, and from what I understand, and a lot of this comes down to how they roll it out on an E3 stage, but from what I understand, all your games that you expect to play, all exclusives, titles, and everything you've ever been promised is going to run just fine on your PS4, just better on a Neo. Now, some people have put their stick in the ground and said there will be performance issues no matter what. There's going to be something that runs better on the Neo than PS4. Well, I kind of want to say no duh, but the same could be argued for any game that comes onto a PC console. It will run better on some graphics cards than others, but there's always going to be that fine line of where it runs just fine to elaborate on the story and gameplay experience. So why are we criticizing Sony for putting a better system together that will really optimize and show the games for more of their true beauty versus their gameplay experience when we can still play and enjoy those same experiences? I mean, there's a disconnect here. We're associating quality of game with visual perspective and not necessarily gameplay mechanics. Now, hear me out. I understand Call of Duty plays significantly different when it's 30 frames per second versus 60 frames per second. The last time I checked, both consoles were doing that just fine, and I think they will still continue to do it. And I don't think by any means, specifically with the PS4, that is lacking in any power and doesn't have the ability to play the games that we're expecting to play. Now, in the case of Xbox, if anything, I would argue they need a hardware update. We need to get better experiences as far as that visual fidelity on Xbox to really feel like we're getting a fair comparison when we're looking at Sony versus PlayStation. Otherwise, where's the exclusivity? I mean, if you're going to tell me that it's just software, but then I have the prediction that you're going to enable all your exclusive software on Windows 10 enabled PCs anyways, then why would I continue to buy an Xbox One? And I think this is where it gets really tricky though, because Xbox and Sony are probably approaching this from two completely different angles. Sony from the perspective of, hey, we can sell this VR, this is our VR optimized console, this is where VR is going to live and thrive. Microsoft is looking at it maybe from a perspective of, we need to blur the lines of PC and Xbox and really combine the two. So if we re-release new hardware that's twice the power of the Xbox One, we're going to cater towards that high-end PC market that might want more of a casual system. And then on the bottom end, hey, the Xbox One is still great, can play its games just like a lower-end PC, or a PC running maybe not the best graphics card. What it comes down to is really where you want to play these games and experience them, but I by no means think that a new console generation or new release of consoles that are more powerful are really going to hurt us that much. If that was the case, PC gaming would be dead, or iPhone gaming would be dead, and these games wouldn't be optimized. We're lying to ourselves if we think that we're not playing different versions of a game. For instance, if I play a game on an iPhone 6 versus 6S, or an iPhone 5 versus 5S versus 6 versus 6S, whatever the case may be, I would be lying to myself if I think I'm playing the exact same game on each system, because it is slightly catered towards the hardware and optimized differently. Yet, on a game like Clash of Clans, everybody can connect. And in a game like Call of Duty, on PC, people who are playing with really good graphics cards versus people who are playing with bad graphics cards are still playing together. So it exists. It's all around us. It's happening. It's just how mad you want to get that you don't have the newest, latest, and greatest. And what I think is more alarming is that shows the issue with consumerism in today's modern day than these actual companies making decisions to push forward their products. One thing I would love to point out is if you really are this anti this console, keep your resolve. Do not buy this console, vote with your wallet, and tell Sony how you really feel. Though, I would argue, if you don't have a 4K TV, you probably shouldn't even be talking about this in the first place, because when push comes to shove, you're not even going to see the visual benefits of the PS4X, or PS4K, PS Neo, whatever you want to call it, because you don't have a TV that'll show you that situation. You don't have a TV that will really benefit from this change. So, understanding that, understanding how consumerism works, understanding mobile upgrades in these consoles in this space, and how much we're pushing forward the gaming industry, it would be foolish of us to expect that the sales cycle or overall research and development cycle on a multi-billion-dollar industry is not going to be significantly increased. The biggest concern it causes for me, or one thing that I would like to point out, is that if they are going to start releasing consoles more frequently on a 3 to 4 year cycle, that means that PC gaming is probably going to be the best place to invest your money. So if you're watching this video and you really want to know what to do next, what console to buy, I would really take a look at the PC space, unless you're forfeiting a lot of connectivity with your friends and the audiences that matter most to you, which those are the people who you play video games with. If you're CMAP or central mass of peeps or peoples, thanks James Freeland for that, are not on your desired console or space, that's an issue. And so don't build a PC if none of your friends have a PC. But better yet, maybe introduce the idea to your friends groups if they're all upset with this concept of quicker sales cycle or quicker life cycles with these new consoles. This has been a KB Cooper rant on the newest and latest and greatest in technology in the video game industry. If you guys would like to see more, just let me know in the comments below. But outside of that, I'm out. Peace! Guys, thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos from Project Forge, please check out the mentioned videos below. And on your way out, if you could click that subscribe button, we'd greatly appreciate it. Nonetheless, this has been a quick Project Forge production, and we'll see you guys next time.